Maybe I do. Maybe I need to find me a life. But the thing is, we started off with want to be happy. And the thing is, a lot of times we don't even know how to define what happy is for ourselves, because we look at other people and define what they say is happy. And that's what we go out and run and we go out and chase. But that song allowed you to know want to be happy is actually finding yourself, finding really your foundation with God in order to find that peace and happiness. We got somebody on the line. They want to ask a question, or they just with us? Can you? And then we had the song Natalie Grant, The Hurricane. And one of the things I was talking about behind the scenes that is so interesting about that song is the hurricane that you as a parent may go through. It's a hurricane that your teenager may be going through. But one thing about a hurricane, it is not forever. That's something that we have to realize. And that's why it was important to me not to spend this whole month just talking about adults. We get so caught up in our own stuff that sometimes we forget that our teenagers, our kids are there in the house with us, and they lose out on a lot of things, or they're misdirected by some of the emotional baggage that we bring in the house and we dump on them. Because sometimes we treat them as they're supposed to be our best friends, and then we put an adult drama on them and not realizing they're dealing with teenage drama. So I thought it was very great for us to finalize this What You Don't Know month to make sure we talked about the next generation. So we actually poured back into the next generation so we don't have another generation of unhealthy adults being brought up. So Dr. Ann Twala, I love the wellness agent. Y'all know I just keep saying that. That just sounds so pretty. I love them little names when people coin themselves, and it really it explains what they do. Not people who just make up stuff and you don't know what it means. But the wellness agent, we have her with us right here, and she is so lovely and cute. I think that's wonderful. But Dr. Ann Twala, she is going to tell us how she got started on this wellness happy journey.
Well, it started for me a few years ago when I realized that I was really living my life the way society dictated we should live it. Had good word. I'd done all the degrees. I started out initially as an LPN and worked my way up, got my RN, then went back and got my master's as a family nurse practitioner, and then went on and got a doctorate degree. And after getting that doctorate degree, I realized I still wasn't fulfilled. I was still unhappy. So I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Both my parents were entrepreneurs, and I said, this is something that I really wanted to do. So I quit my job, and I decided to sort of, to go out there and do my own thing. And that's when I really learned what happiness is. And I was one, even with my daughter, I'd always told her, you're going to be a doctor. So I chose her career for her. I'm like, you don't go to school and be a doctor. That's not what she wanted to do. And of course, today, I realized after me fulfilling my dream, I said, honey, you can be whatever you want to be. So she doesn't have to be a doctor. She chose not to be at this point. So that was some of the things, but I also saw things that kids struggle with because I work with youth. I've mentored youth, in the past, and they have so many questions and so many things that they think they know, but they don't. So, it was something when you said that what you don't know can hurt you. What they don't know is hurting them, because we're really losing our youth, not just health reasons, but also in other areas because they're choosing to go down the wrong path. So I sort of started out there just not being happy and searching for that, lost weight, decided to live a healthier lifestyle, and that's what I'm doing today. I live life on my own terms, and I do it unapologetically. So
I love that, on your own terms. And I think, well, I don't just think, I know that's what happens in society. We say, get a 9-to-5, get a good job, and you'll be happy. Happy, successful, and healthy. But sometimes we leave out that healthy component because we don't tell them you're going to be stressed, you're going to be annoyed, this is not something that you're going to want to do. And the key is we should be trying to help them find their passion so they could tune in to what their real God-given purpose is. But we're so focused on putting them out the house when they get 18. I'm guilty of it, because we want them to be grown and we want them to sustain themselves. But we missed out on the true substantiation. And me, just like Dr. Ann Twala, it's a period when you got to walk out, take that faith walk, and really identify what happy is for you. what a healthy place is for you in your walk. Whether it's your professional walk, whether it's your personal walk, you have to really sit down and define what healthy is for you. But I don't want you all as adults here to just do it for yourself. I challenge you to go back and talk to your teenagers. I even challenge you, if you are a parent of an adult child, to go back and talk so you can have some interaction. I challenge you to sit down and say, hey, we're going to find out 3 things that we like about each other that actually make us happy, that make us healthy. Some things that we can do together, some things that I can actually push and pull you on, so I can find out what those things are.
Right, and so many times I think parents, we focus on our children's weaknesses instead of their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that we should learn to do, is find out your child's strong areas and then focus on those things, because focusing on those areas that they're weak in, it does nothing but cause conflict in you all's relationship, and then they'll despise you for it. Because when you choose the path that a child needs to go down, or the path that you want them to go down, then they build up resentment for you. And they may have so much respect for you that they don't show you that resentment until much later in life, or they may never show it. But if you speak with them and have a conversation with them and say, I want you to be open and honest with me, they'll tell you that, I didn't appreciate it when you did this, or I wanted to do A and you chose B for me. So find out what it is that they want to do, and you may not agree with it. But the thing of it is it's their life, and that's one thing that we have to realize as parents is they get to choose. Just like we chose when we were teenagers, we didn't always do things the way our parents wanted us to, and we've done some stupid things. If we'd all be honest, we've done things that we wish we could go back and undo, but we can't. So we all get to decide our fate in life and what path we want to go down. And as parents, that's what we need to instill in our children, and find out what it is that they want to do, and then get about the business of helping them do that and become that thing that they want to be.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful to do the things. First, we got to find out, tune in, tap in, because that's one of those debates that I'm having with my teenage daughter now. What is your passion? What it is that you like to do? Identify those things so you know what happy and successful is for you. I don't want you to take on a career I did. I don't want you to do the path I did. You don't have to do the 4-year thing. You don't have to get the PhDs, the masters, the doctorates. You need to get whatever it is that is going to make you happy.
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah, because at some point, they're going to be unhappy because they are doing something that they don't want to do, and it'll ruin their life, because sometimes they don't have the strength to come back and tell you because they're ashamed. This is what is making my parent proud of me.
Absolutely.
Not really telling them, I love you.
And they're dying.
Yeah, they're dying. And that's why I say we got to find that healthy point to keep them from quietly dying inside. We have a lot of teens that are quietly dying inside, and we think it's because we always blame it on bullying, we always blame it on peer pressure, but sometimes we are the stressors in our children's lives. We are the pressure. So we have to realize that if we're the pressure and we're the stressors, we have to do that. And we have this wonderful book, which is called, we got somebody on the line? Hello? You talking to me, or you just you agreeing with me? I can't hear them really good, the question they're asking. Can you hear them?
No, they're not talking.
Oh, they're not talking to me?
Yeah, they're on there, but they're not saying.
Okay, well, whoever's on the line, you all are talking behind the scenes to someone else, and we hear you on the station through the line. But, okay. We got our own book here. It's called You Rule, Take Charge of Your Health and Your Life. And of course, I love the pretty little colors that are here. I love how it's exciting. Yes, it's a book for teens, but I suggest if you're a parent, get this book first, read it for yourself so you can help understand. It's been a long time since you've been a teenager. I got to be honest. Even though I remember some of this dumb stuff that I did when I was 16 and 17. But the thing is, I have to realize my child is not me, and not judge them by the things that I am going through. So, first of all, Dr. Ann Twala, tell us, why did you write the book? and then give us some of the exciting, juicy things that are in the book, which will encourage people to buy because they need to understand these are a lot of the things that are going on in a teen's mind.
Right, exactly. Well, I wrote the book. Actually, God placed it on my heart to write the book. And being a mother and having raised a daughter who was a teenager and went through that period, I knew that there were so many questions that they have, and like I said, so many things that they think they know because they think they know everything at their age, and they don't really know much at all. So, I wanted to write something, and I love our youth. I think that they are one of the most powerful mediums on earth. And so I wanted to provide a resource for them, something that they can draw from to help them be more efficient, effective, and productive members of society, because there's so many negative things out there for them. But I wanted them to really have a resource that they can go to that provides accurate information and things that's based on evidence. So, having, studied and researched things, I wanted to put things in here so that they had facts and not fiction. And I also wanted to provide a tool for parents that would help them to communicate better with their teens, understand them better, and connect better with them, because without those things, they'll never be able to really reach their teens and impact their child's life if they don't do that, if they don't communicate with them, if they don't understand them, and if they don't connect with them. So they need to have those things.
Yeah, I believe connection is the key, because otherwise it's like you talking to a brick wall. You can say, well, I talk to my children, I communicate with my kids, but the problem is you're just talking at them because they've went tone deaf on you because you don't spend the time to allow them to vent.
Right.
You don't listen to any of the issues that go on in their life, or you're so caught up, you're so busy, you're so focused on what it is that you're doing. And I'm guilty of that sometimes. My daughter has to come and say, Mama, are you listening? And I'll be like, baby, my mind was 100 million miles away. She'll be singing, Mama, Mama.
That's true.
So I have to get myself together and be like,
when
okay.
they do that to us, we don't like it. I know I'll say to my daughter, put the phone down, or just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll just go on. Well, think about that. We do them the same way sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have to openly communicate with your child, meaning that it's a two-way communication.
Yeah.
You're not just the one talking all the time. You need to learn to actively listen to them and say, okay, I can understand what you're saying and I appreciate what you're saying, first of all, because if any child sits down and communicates with their parents and they're being honest with them,
Yes.
that right there is a blessing, because a lot of kids won't talk to their parents. So if they come to you, be willing to listen to them and say, I respect what you're saying, although you may not agree with what they're saying, and you let them know that, and you tell them the why behind a lot of what you're saying, and not just say, don't do this. When we talk to our children about different things, whether that be alcohol, drugs, sex, because, teens are having sex, we always teach them what's right. Abstain, don't have it. But we know they do. So you teach them, okay, this is what you do. If you do, or if they come to you and say, hey, I'm thinking about this, or I've done this, then you need to equip them so that they don't end up with certain things like STDs or a baby and all of that. And those are some of the things that I talk about in this book. Talk about teen pregnancy, STDs, talk about their health.
The real world you are.
The real world.
The
That's
reality
right.
of the
and their
world.
rights as a teenager,
Yeah.
because parents don't realize it, but when teens go to the doctor, they have rights as teens, especially when it comes to reproductive issues. They can go by themselves. They don't need a parent to go, so they have those rights. And I wanted them to have this resource so that they know they can go to this book and say, okay, well, I want to understand something about sex or relationships. And they can go to this book and look at that. If they want to know about their health, I talk about common illnesses among teenagers, because we know that today our teens are obese, especially our African American females. They're obese, and we know that obesity leads to what? Heart disease. And now a recent study that I just read saying that our children are going to have strokes at an earlier age now. They're going to die at an earlier age than their parents. And that's scary for me. And that was another thing that prompted me to write this book, so that because no parent should have to bury a child. I don't care who you are. No one wants to deal with that, especially if it was something that was preventable.
Yes, and that's the key.
A lot of things are preventable. We talk about alcohol and drugs in here, because so many kids are experimenting with drugs today and alcohol. And, And it's unintentional accidents, which is the #1 killer of teenagers. And it's things like motor vehicle accidents and alcohol. They can drink themselves and it could kill them, just from having too much to drink. So those are some of the things that parents may not talk about with their kids, but at least you want them to know about those things, because some parents are just
in a positive, healthy way. Well, I think is what we're saying. If you don't speak about it, you act like your children won't do it. Or if you act like we don't talk about it,
I talk about it. I agree with it. I'm promoting it. No. You definitely want to talk about it.
You need to talk about it because you got to give some type of direction. You got to give some type of information about it. It's not if we don't speak about it, it just doesn't exist. Because the problem is curiosity lives in the world. Somebody's speaking about it. Somebody's already offered your child a smoke of weed. Somebody's already offered them a drink. And you need to instill in them that they don't have to do those things to find their happiness. Like the book says, take charge of your health and your life.
Because
so it's a tool.
They are in charge of those things, and that's what this book is teaching them. That you are the one in charge of your health and your life, not your friend.
Not even your parents.
Not even your parents. It's you, and it's your responsibility. So they need to learn how to make wise choices so that they can be productive and effective, citizens, and not just some person that grows up and does nothing with their life, or end up in a situation that they don't want to be in. Because I've worked in the prison system, I worked in the male and the female prison system, and there's so many people in there, and I've worked with young girls,
yes,
and spoken with young girls, and everyone in there, you think, oh, they were just, that won't happen to my child. Absolutely, it can happen, because there are people in prison that were on the road. I met females in there that was on the road to being a doctor. Some were in their residency program, and something happened, or hooked up with the wrong man.
Their wrong choices.
They're in prison. So things can happen, and there's a lot of people that are there that never thought they would be there. So we need to get them at an early age.
Yeah. Sheltering, it sounds wonderful as a parent, but the lack of information that we provide, and we live in an information age now. And the problem with the information age, we get all this information, but we don't implement any of it to improve our lives. We use all this information sometimes for negativity, or we use it to keep our children away from certain things. Yes, there's certain things they don't need to be exposed to if you're not going to provide some guidance and understanding with it. But the beauty of this book, it is the wisdom with the actually power to do something about it. So if you're afraid to have the talk, buy the book for yourself so you can eliminate the fears. You can read through some of it. And so if they come ask you the why or the what question, now you have a weapon in your hand to use, so you're not being defenseless. I'm not saying the Bible is not a great weapon.
Oh, yes.
The Bible is the first weapon that you should use. But however, we live in a society where there are things that did not exist then. So we need to equip ourselves. Social media didn't exist. And I know you have an actual wonderful chapter in there written about social media. That was not something that existed. And if y'all believe that y'all can keep y'all kids off social media forever for the rest of their lives, the problem is when they hit 18 and they can leave your house.
They may think they're not on social media.
Now.
When they get to school, they're on their friends'
Yes.
social media. It happens all the time, and I've seen kids be like, let me get on, because I can't get on. They're on there. Trust you me. It's just you don't know about it.
Or they've set up a social media account with their internet at school that you've signed off on that permission slip for so they could do a project. But now they've set up social media accounts. So the reality is it's happening. Right. So at least be equipped and sit down and have the real conversations. For the parents who want to be blissfully ignorant and stay in that place, all you're doing is creating an environment where you cannot communicate with your children. An unhealthy relationship. So I just need you to be educated on how you are actually hindering your relationship with your kids, hindering your relationship from them to be productive in society. So tell us a little bit about your social media chapter.
That chapter really talks about teens having a healthy social media presence. It talks about things that they should and should not put on social media. When they're communicating with people, what things they should and should not share. But social media isn't bad. It's only bad if you make it that way. Because there was also research done where they talked to teens, and they found out that it can have a positive effect on teens. It makes some kids feel more confident and less shy, and they learn how to communicate better. with other people as a result of being on social media. So there are some positive things that are, about social media. Of course, we're all on social media. And it's just that you need to teach them how to utilize those tools and that platform and what they're trying to do. And you can make it fun. You can say, okay, what is it that you want to be in life? What is it that you want to do? You love fashion, you love makeup, or you love whatever. And say, let's have a purpose for you being on here. Let's build your following now so that once you reach a certain age, you're already there. And you have an audience and you have a tribe already following you for whichever direction they choose to go in life. So it's not all bad, but that's what, the book talks about. It talks about having a healthy social media presence.
But I love the fact that you said create purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everything that we do, sometimes we think it's negative. You think everything that your child do is negative. But the thing is, if you can find the perspective where you can turn it into something that aligns with something that's productive and positive, it will lead them down a good direction. Because it was something that you said earlier when you were talking about your teenage daughter, how you were just trying to, we push our kids to be like we want them to be. Or we want them to be our mini-me.
We want them to be better than us.
Because I see a lot of people talking about my mini-me, my mini-me, my mini-me. People, okay, but that's great, but you need to dig deeper into your child's head to find out what your mini-me wants to be, because they don't necessarily want to be the mirror image of you.
They don't want to be you. My daughter told me, she said, Mama, I have a life, and you need to get one. She wasn't trying to be disrespectful. She said that, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I have a life, and you need to get one. So, because I'm always over her. She's the only child, and it's like, I'm just always there trying to protect and prevent and teach and all of that. So definitely, you want to open the door up for communication, and I felt like this could be that thing. You can sit with this book, and if you read something, and you can casually have a conversation. I would bring things up to my daughter and say, what do you think about so-and-so? So if you read something or you read the book, be like, did you read such and such in that book? What did you think about that? Just not be so formal about it, but to just open the door up for them to communicate with you.
Hello. Yeah, we got somebody who's having a whole other conversation on the line.
They doing their own thing, all right. Okay.
But we are gonna jump into some music, and I like this song. It is by Tasha Cobbs, and it says, "You Make Me Happy." And when I think about this song, it's not you as another person, and I think that's the problem. A lot of times we're looking for another individual to make us happy. It is really the Christ that lives within us that make us happy. So we need to really listen to that song and find our little happy place. And I'm looking forward to all of you all's questions and calls in so we can come back and talk about some of the things that have been put out. Remember, you rule. Take charge of your health and life.